Good morning, everybody. So it is Tuesday today, and we're gonna welcome everybody to the Wake Up and Resell Resellers Facebook group. Wake up with us every morning at 7 a.m. We meet at 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every Monday through Thursday to get our day started off together. We're a community of resellers that are here to support each other. We're all different levels. We're all at different places, but we can all give each other tidbits of information and things to learn along the way. So first half we share with YouTube, and the second half is group only. So if you want to join in the second half or watch our other calls, go to the Facebook of the Reseller Revenue group and join us there, and it'll give you instructions on how to do that. So today we are going to talk about focus, and I kind of landed on that a little bit yesterday, but I think it's really important. It's something that people talk about all the time. I talk about all the time. People are always like, yeah, you need to focus. We need to hone in on our things that we need to do better. But we don't always talk about like, how do you get there? Because it's so easy to say we need to focus on one thing at a time, or we need to give our business more of our focus. But how that looks, what does that look like? And it looks different for different people, like everything else we do. But I think there's when I was kind of looking at different people's thoughts on this subject, it was really eye-opening to me what different business people had to say about it and different tips that they gave. You guys know me, I'm not like a positive, I'm going to give everybody a hug until everybody gets good and everybody's just thinks positive and all of a sudden you're going to make all this money. That's just not my style. So I like to be able to tell you like, this is what we can do to actually move the needle forward. And I think this is something that if we could all work on and improve, I think it really would move our needle forward. I don't know about you guys, but I am guilty of sitting and going, I'll be doing my listing and I'm constantly thinking about what's next. Or I'm doing my listings and I'm worried about my shipping. I'm doing my shipping and worried about my listings. I'm doing my shipping and in the middle of shipping, I'll start like doing my saved Google searches or my saved eBay searches. And it's like, what am I doing? I'm shipping. I'm not sourcing right now. I'm shipping. But I'll stop what I'm doing right in the middle of it to go to something else. And then I think, well, I'll just pop right back. But if we put those minutes together of all the time that we're popping back and forth doing things, whether they can even be, our spouse comes in the room, our kid comes in the room, our pet comes in the room, all of those things are taking us away from what we're trying to do and making our processes longer. One of the most common things I hear from people say is that they can't get their listings done during the day. And a lot of these people are full-time resellers. This is all they have to do in their professional world is to get their listings done, get the shipping done, do their customer service. And unless we're running fairly large businesses, in my opinion, we should all be able to get it done. We need a little discipline, a lot of us. I think self-employment comes with the challenge a lot of times of the discipline of not holding ourselves to the same standards as being an employee. We hear that all the time. We need to expect out of ourselves what we expect from other people if they're working for us. That's easier said than done. I mean, it happens to me too. It's easy to focus on a sourcing only side of things. You guys will hear me say all the time that lots of us are professional shoppers, and professional shopping doesn't make us money. Calculated sourcing does make us money. So we have to, I think, even if you're allergic to a schedule, there's lots of self-employed people that just don't want to schedule. This is why they're self-employed. And I think that's fine. But I think we do have to have set things during the day that we are responsible for and that we hold to be the most important things in our day, right? So I know I have to ship every day. And in fact, I really need to ship twice a day or I get behind. So that's a non-negotiable. We have a non-negotiables in our world, right? And to me, our listings should be non-negotiable. And to me, it is. I do not look at it like, unless I have an actual catastrophe, those listings are getting up every day because that's how I make money. So for some of us, if it's a hobby or a part-time retirement supplementing, it's going to be different for you. And I understand that. And I'm totally all for that. But if this is our sole sources of income, or if we're trying to make it a sole source of income so that we can quit a job we don't like, or so we can get our retirement done, then we have to look at it differently and we have to get our stuff done. So I'm trying to focus a lot of these calls on what can we do to make those things happen and fall into place for everyone and cater to what works best for you? But I just know I get overwhelmed a lot. And I also get burnout once in a while. I will say this group helps me not feel burnout so much because I think when we can talk to other people that are in the same boat doing the same things, it kind of helps me not feel so overwhelmed. It makes me feel like there's other people in the same position I am. And it just kind of breaks up the day a little bit. I think if I didn't have my core group of people to talk to about reselling, I feel like if I didn't have you guys here for me, I'd probably not do as well as what I do sometimes because I do also feel a little accountable. Like, who wants to come in this group and be like, well, I got one up in the last 3 days when I say I'm full time, So there's some accountability to me, it's no different than having a professional conference with our peers. We are having professional conferences every morning and we're doing it together. And so something, the focus part, I think will elevate everybody. And I think it's something that everybody um, can benefit from, even if you're part-time or even in your personal life. So when we're feeling like we're overwhelmed, I think women, no offense, guys, but I feel like women are natural multitaskers, right? I think it comes from having kids a lot of times where you're doing 10 things at one time. But I don't know about you, but I've realized as I've gotten older and a little more mature, when I'm doing 10 things at the same time, I'm doing nothing really good. When I am doing too many things all at once, I'm not really good at any of them. I get them done, but am I doing them to the best of my ability? Absolutely not. And I think that's just because we can't. We can't be everywhere at the same time. We can't do everything really well and hit it out of the park all at the same time. Are there exceptions to the rule and there's superhumans out there? Yes, but I'm not one of them. I get tired, I get overwhelmed, I get burnout, I get crabby. Um, so I feel like I've always been a don't put all your eggs in one basket person because I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's just my wonderful, cheery, glowing personality that I have about me. I'm just always waiting for the next bad thing around the corner. I'm saying you should be that way. It's just how I am. But when we put everything in one basket or when we're taking away from that basket and we're diversifying, and I'm not saying diversification's bad. I've kind of always been that way by nature. But I was listening to something last night and it's like, what if we did put everything in one basket? And I think we've all heard people say that. They're like, what if we just did one thing really well? And some of us don't have that luxury. Some of us have to, I have that other job and so on and so forth. But what if we just put all of our energy into, okay, I'm going to do eBay and I'm just going to do eBay really well. And I think we've heard that from people that we listen to that resell that have said, concentrate on one platform and just do it to the very best of your ability. And I cross post like 5 things a day to Poshmark. So the platform thing isn't really my issue, but I do try to do too many different directions all in one day. And I think I would have less burnout, I'd have less stress and all that good stuff if I concentrated on what I was doing fully. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I did some Google searches, stuff like, how do you do that? It's like I can tell everybody, well, focus, guys. Just don't think about other things while we're doing our work. You just need to get it done. Because I am kind of a just get it done person. Like sometimes I don't understand why we're not getting it done. I don't understand. It's hard for me to relate to that because I just sit down and I get my work done. But something that I heard more than once was you have to forget everything else while you're doing your one thing. And I thought, well, that seems pretty simple, but I guess I had never really heard of it voiced that way, that you have to forget everything else and that it's a skill. It's not just the one-time deal. Like, I can't tell you, okay, now you go do your work and you're going to be 100% focused and it just should be able to happen today. That over and over and over, it was talked about being a skill. It was a life skill. It was something we have to learn and practice and maintain to learn to be that focused. And I think I always just kind of thought of it as I'm going to tell somebody to be focused and they should just go be focused. And I think that that's not really maybe it's not really how life works. So I've been practicing trying to be more focused and more honed in on things. And it has made such a difference that when I'm listing, that's all I'm thinking about is my listing. And I've been trying to practice that when my mind starts wandering away, because it will, nope, we are listing. And I'm one that will worry about not getting 100 things done while I'm taking twice as long to do the thing at hand because I'm worrying about the other 10 things that are to come. And then I'll start thinking, there's no way I can get all this done today. And then I think I'll waste a half an hour thinking about how I'm never going to get anything done. When if I would have just sat down and did it, I would have been done with that already. And so I've been trying to do things in smaller bites. I've been trying to give, whatever I'm doing in front of me, my full attention. That also can be with our kids, our spouse, whether we're cooking supper, whatever we're doing, I'm trying to give things like, this is what I'm doing right now. And what I found is I'm a lot faster at things that I'm practicing that on. Um, Not multitasking has actually helped me get more done because I'm knocking things out. And I've also started practicing if something comes up that needs done, I'm just doing it right then. I'm not thinking about it forever. I'm not putting it on a list forever. If I can get it done in 5-10 minutes, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna get it done. And I feel like I've been a lot more productive in that arena, just knocking stuff out, getting it done, and then moving on to something else. But I'm only doing that one item when it moves on to the next thing. And I think we really don't think about how each time we're moving from one task to another, that expends our energy, both our mental and our physical energy. We're moving our energy to a different item and then moving back. Every time we switch back and forth, that is taking time and effort, both on our brain and on our physical being. And then there's also the whole other level of what are we doing scrolling on Facebook? What are you doing? Why are you checking your email 50 times a day? Why are we checking our eBay store 50 times a day to see if we have offers to send out? I send offers all the time. So that I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I can get compulsive about checking it where I'm just refreshing the screen. I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but it happens to me. And I find myself in a habit of every time I'm grabbing my phone and doing something, I'm checking to see if I have offers to send out. Every time I do that, I'm taking myself away from the task I picked up my phone to do, assuming I was going to do something productive. And now I've diverted my energy to scrolling and refreshing that screen. Now, I'm not saying that I shouldn't ever check that screen, but if I did it on a set schedule every day, or like 3 times a day or 4 times a day, I need to break that habit, is what I'm saying. I've created a bad habit that every time I grab my phone, I check that. Every time I grab my phone, I'm checking my email. There's nobody that needs to talk to me that importantly on email that it can't wait a couple hours. So I could just do it like 3 times a day. There's no offers that probably won't get bought just because I didn't do it every 15 minutes. So we also need to break bad habits, and mine is that way. I also will check Facebook way too often. And obviously, you just don't, I think lots of times we're mindlessly unfocused. I don't think that we're doing it on purpose. I think it's just human nature. Every time my YouTube video that I'm listening to in the background stops, what do I have to do? I have to stop what I'm doing and find something else to listen to. It's totally taking away my focus from what I was working on. Now I'm looking for something to listen to. I've totally diverted my energy and my attention to a whole nother item that I should have just kept going on, because now I would be done before I find something else to listen to get my thing done. I would have been already done with my task most of the time. And if I like by the time I find something else to listen to, I would have been finished. I could have gone and done whatever I wanted. So my world is not as easy as, oh, I just have 3 things to knock out. Most people's aren't. And I'm done. Most of us have jobs and kids or spouses or friends that we have to attend to, or a house that we have to keep, and eBay that we have to do. And I'm sure it's really easy to say, well, easier said than done. But I have a lot on my plate. And most of the time, I can say that when I'm actually practicing trying to be focused and get all my stuff done, that I usually get the important stuff done during the day. Now, I will say that I can get a little unfocused, and then all of a sudden I'll feel like I worked all day. And I hear this all the time. I worked all day and only got 4 listings done, but I worked all day. But we have to define what work means. Work doesn't mean just being busy. And I feel like there's lots of days where I go from like half of one task to half another task, another. And And I feel like I've ran my butt off all day. I've been working all day and go to bed at night, I still don't have my stuff done. The main stuff that I have to get done during the day, still not done. How does that happen if I work 12 hours that day? How did my stuff not get done? I can tell you why. It's because I wasn't focused on it and I was always worried about the next step instead of just getting my stuff done. I was always worried about the next thing I had to get done instead of just really worrying about what I was working on at that moment. And so I've realized this about myself. I've realized that if I'm going to keep growing, I think I got to a something's got to give moment where if I keep adding all these things, something else is going to have to give. When in all reality, I don't know that I have to give up anything, but I have to do what I'm doing better. And we can all do better. I mean, all of us could do better. But it really, I know that I'm kind of a stickler when people are like, well, I worked all day and I can only do 10 listings. That's my max. And something inside of me, because I'm kind of a hard butt like that, wants to say, it's not. Like, just get it together and get your 10 listings done. And, all of a sudden you'll be doing 20. But that's not helpful. That's not helpful to people. But I will say that I think I can say with all feeling very confident about it is to say, can you really focus and do your processes? I'm a big process person. I don't really necessarily buy into that we all should have the same process, but you need to have your process in place and follow it. And our process probably doesn't have in the little in between lines scribbled, check our Facebook 15 times, right? But that's the process we're following. We're following that process. We're following, check our Facebook, check for offers, check our email, and we're writing those in between all of our lines. We're writing all those things in our process, whether we do or not. So we write down one process, and our process may be photos, sourcing, listing, put away. We have that beautiful process that we've written out. We're going to work on our processes, and we're going to talk about what each process means to us and what we're doing for it. We're going to talk about our business rules, and we're going to do all those things together. First, we have to realize the process that we write down or the process that we have absolutely has to match what the process is that we're following. So my process looks beautiful on paper. I have my processes down. I have a beautiful inventory system. I have a great photography system. I list really quickly. But in all reality, if I was honest, my process needs to have all those little things written in the sidebars 50 times a day. Now, if I wrote all down what I actually do, instead of, what I actually practice, not what I say I do, you guys would think I was crazy. Like, check YouTube, find something to watch, check my email, check Facebook. And all of a sudden my process is 50 pages long because that's what I really do in real life. So I think that that's something that we could all learn from and that we could all gain some insight on. And if we really actually practice what we preach with our processes and with our time, I feel like we would all be a lot more productive. If we put all of our eggs in one basket, and that can be process at hand can be your basket, right? So your time that you're focusing stuff on, that's your basket. I think we build momentum, just like eBay builds momentum, right? I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that, but if you consistently are putting in more listings and you're putting them in and putting them in and putting them in, and you start rolling with eBay and you start taking offers and you're priced correctly, it builds momentum. But so does our tasks that we're working on, that that we need to focus in on. If we're really giving it everything we have, it will build momentum. And then when you feel like you're actually knocking things out and not just staying busy, that builds momentum because you'll start feeling really good about yourself because you're not all of a sudden changing what's on your list. I don't know if you guys do that, but I want to cross it off really bad, but I didn't get it all the way done. So I just alter what's on the list. So I feel like I can cross it off, but really I'm just moving it to a different spot on the list and changed it a little bit. So once you're really actually able to completely wipe it off and you're getting stuff done, there's nothing better and you will build natural momentum. I promise you, you will just keep going. Like when you realize I can knock out 25 listings in 2 hours, feels really good. And then you can do whatever you want to, just get it done. And you actually are focused and you're knocking them out that quick and they're good. You're going to keep going because it feels good and you're going to start making more money. And that feels good. So I feel like if we don't keep diverting our energy in 15 different places, we will solve a lot of our problems that we have. And some of our problems are, not getting our listings done, working all day, but not getting any work done. And I feel like when I'm helping people on an individual basis, that's what I hear the most. Is I'm working all the time, I'm exhausted, I never have time for myself, and I'm still not getting it done. I can't do this. We can all do this, but we have to get rid of all the stuff that doesn't matter. And if I made you say out loud the process you actually follow all day and what you actually do, and I made you say out loud, check my Facebook, check, and all of a sudden you've said that 15 times, you're going to feel a little silly or you're going to lie. My guess is you're just not going to tell me. You're going to leave that part out. And all the things that you would leave that part out at, if you had to tell your mentor what you were doing every second of the day, are probably things we need to cut out. So if we have to put in, check my Facebook, check my Facebook, check my Facebook, check, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's silly. I'm not telling them that. Then that's probably what you need to be reflecting on. And I'm trying really hard to get better at that, and my times are showing it. I think that we must believe in what we're doing to make this work. If you're just kind of sort of messing around with eBay, and that's fine. Some of us, that's our business plan. You're having fun, you're enjoying it, that's fine. But if you need to make this work for income, then we have to believe in eBay, and we have to believe that we can make it work. We have to believe that it's going to, work out for us. Because if I don't believe in something and I feel like it's going to end up failing or that I can't do it, that's exactly what happens. And while I'm kind of a glass half empty person in general, I do believe that what I'm spending all this time in is going to work. And I have changed, my business has changed so much in the last year since I've been giving it my full effort and not just staying busy with it, but working it. And there's the difference. Some people are busy with eBay all day and all night, but they aren't actually working the eBay. So I feel like we really need to believe in it, or why is it going to believe in you type of thing, So, and I have found the more I put into eBay, and much as that sounds very cliche, the more I give to eBay, the more it gives back on a consistent basis. I am very consistent with eBay. And eBay, since I've upped my listing goal and I'm super consistent with it, and I ship, on a very regular, usually twice a day basis, and I'm sending out offers and I'm taking care of customer service, I am so consistent. It has definitely been more consistent to me. Do I have a couple bad days once in a while? Yes, but they aren't catastrophic bad days. They're pretty darn consistent. So when we say, well, I took a couple days off, or I just didn't feel like doing it. Well, then don't complain when eBay didn't feel like giving you business, because it didn't feel like it that day, because you didn't do anything, and it kind of is delayed. So like eBay kind of gives us a little bit of jabs that way. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I feel like you can slack on your listings one day and you're like, haha, I still had a great sales day and it worked. And then 2 days later, you're like, I don't have much business today. It's like a delayed punishment. So sometimes we have to remember that, because otherwise we feel like it's like the kid that didn't get punished right away when they did something bad. And then they don't know why they're getting punished. We have to remember why we're being punished. And I really feel like there's this delay with eBay. Yeah, Kimmery says, is a wishy-washy eBay, her payouts reflect the amount of work I'm putting in. Yeah, absolutely. And when I'm rocking and rolling and I'm doing good stuff, like my payouts are good and they're consistent. And I can see the efforts. And I hear people already telling me, yeah, but we don't sell the same thing. You're right. I'm in a hugely saturated market, price competitive, super saturated, and people don't need jewelry. But I have figured out that if I actually practice what people are preaching to me, that for the most part, eBay is a pretty consistent source of income. So I think the whole we need to forget the rest is a good concept for me, and a good simple way for me to think about it. So if I forget about the rest while I'm doing the one thing, that's kind of the statement of all this that's kind of worked for me. So we're going to wrap up our YouTube portion of this, and we're going to go private to our Facebook group for the Reseller Revenue. Join us there. It'll give you instructions on how to join our Patreon if you want to take part in these calls.